Greetings, I am Lies, and I use she, her.
And I am Scandal, and I use they, them.
And let's talk about a copyright strike together. Okay.
We're back here again.
One
Hooray!
more time. Okay, so this video is going to be in two parts. For anyone who has come here because they've received a copyright strike about First Love Story, or if it's about Favori, then we're going to give information on that first. And the second part.
And it is specifically about Favori Inc. It's not just Favori.
Sorry.
And it is then going to be, though, our experience in relation to those things. So if there are some things you don't understand in the first section, we will explain how we came to those conclusions, but also a quick thing to explain really quickly. We are not legal experts.
This
is not legal advice. This is the information that we have gathered, and this is meant to be a sort of like helper thing, but it is not the be-all, end-all. YouTube constantly does change the way that it functions, and it's been an interesting experience. We'll go more into detail with that later.
So yeah, don't take any of this as legal advice, but you can certainly take it as a starting point to get your own direction.
Yes. Okay,
all right.
So starting out.
So first thing, we assume that you've gotten a copyright strike. Understand that the company does not allow sharing of any of its games past the first chapter.
Yes.
I was going to say, actions that you're going to want to do is take down and delete any videos that you've got that are past that first chapter or sharing anything other than the first chapter of the game.
Yes.
And so that goes for any of the different routes. If you're in First Love Story, only first chapters.
And I think it's even like, so I'm not quite sure, but it might be like there's the first chapter and then there's like part 1 of the first chapter. So I would be really careful with that.
I believe it's part 1 of the first chapter. They only want you to share a tiny little basically preview of the game and nothing else.
Yes.
Next, if you want to remove the strikes, then you're going to need to contact Favori Inc. directly.
Yes.
We're going to link their address down in the description, but also it's support _ overseas at favori.co.jp.
Yep, and that is the way to get a hold of them. Also, the other thing too is if this is your first strike ever, if you delete the videos, that will, as far as I understand, remove the strike that one time, if I remember correctly, based on YouTube's service. But beyond that point, it doesn't matter. Most likely, if you've done a lot of the game itself, it is very possible that Favori will have struck you multiple times.
I say, we've heard from people that, yeah, if it's your very first offense, deleting it will remove the strike, but we don't have confirmation of that, but we've heard it from numerous people.
Yes, we have.
All right, so after you've we recommend when you contact Favori that you're just really polite. Like very apologetic, and professional. They are a Japanese company, and we had help when we approached them.
Yes.
And you need to be really, really like, I'm sorry that I did this. Please forgive me. And then let them know that you've taken the vids down and promise them that you will not put any up ever again. And then ask them to remove the strikes.
Yes. And you... sometimes they will ask for like screenshots or understanding, but be sure also to take your time, because Favori really does in the end kind of want you to know that you have done it bad and you did it without their permission. Because one of the big things is Favori is also a Japanese company, which means they run on Japanese time, specifically through Monday through Friday. So wherever you live, it has to be within those days and based on that time zone in Japan.
Right.
So if you don't get an immediate response from them when you're being very, very polite and very apologetic, because again, they are Japanese, there's a lot about like honorifics and being very polite, particularly with the business language of Japan. That is a solid thing to keep in mind when you're contacting them. And so also though, if you don't hear from them in that time and you are really concerned, say like you get multiple strikes from them because you had a lot of their content on your channel like we did.
We did.
You actually also want to consider doing actually a counter notification. Now we totally understand counter notifications are very scary and they sound very spoopy.
So when you go to, if you see there, if you go and what do I do about the strike? And then YouTube will say you can file a counter notification. When you click on that, it'll give you a big legal warning of going, if you do this, you're starting a legal action. And that is correct. To file the counter notification, you'll actually have to dox yourself. You'll have to share your full name, address, and everything, so YouTube knows exactly who you are. And if you're not comfortable doing that, you won't be able to counter notif. Then when you write your counter notification, it will tell you in your own words describe, but you don't want to use in your own words.
Yeah.
What you want to use is the most professional language you can as to why your video is reasonably belongs to you.
Mhm.
Now, if you have shared the game and you have no dialogue, no commentary, it's just a quiet click through, you're not really going to be able to do a counter notification because you won't be able to claim fair use because it's just the game. But if you've added dialogue, if you've added commentary, if you've done any critique or anything, then, or if you've altered the game in any way, you can argue fair use using those points. And there are a lot of people that are very helpful about describing what kind of language to use and things like that, including...
including, I guess now at this point, is going to be our own experience.
Yes.
So kind of starting then from the top, so we can kind of explain the framework that we've started with in the first part. So, like, for example, so if you're stuck by Favre, the big thing about it is that, we did a lot of research. So with this first particular section, I was doing a lot of trying to find it. And so, like I said earlier, I was a little bit confused because they are extremely vague in their terms of service. Now, one thing I'm talking about Favre Inks, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, but I thought we already established we were talking about Favre, so I wasn't.
We were talking about
anymore.
YouTube next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so what I was talking about was Favre Inks. Sorry. And in this case, so when you look at their terms of service, and this is a thing to share for a lot of people, companies are not required with games or anything else to be explicit about how their stuff may or may not be used. Copyright generically basically protects them no matter what. They're the person who developed it / basically is the producer of the game, and they do not require to have a terms of service for how the game will be used. They can take it down for any reason that they want.
Or change it at any time.
Yes.
And if something isn't included in the terms of service, it doesn't matter. They can still say that's part of our company policy.
Which is exactly what happened in this case and why we said past chapter 1 only. So that was a thing that we actually learned personally through Favre itself. Now, it doesn't mean that Favre will continue to do so, but that probably would be a good starting point at this particular juncture, which is, of course, in March of 2021. So I don't know if their policies will ever change, but this is the story that we have to now.
So yeah, we're going to move full on into our own experiences at this point, so you're welcome to stay. And if you are regular fans, hi, welcome. Want to hear what's been happening the last couple of months?
Here we go. All right, so go ahead.
Hi, first things first, a copyright strike is stressful. Holy crap, it is tiring and overwhelming and intimidating. And it took a lot of emotional work to get through it for both of us.
Yes.
When we were first struck, we immediately went and filed counter notifications and stuff after sort of having a massive headache of going, oh my God, we have like 22 strikes.
Yeah.
It was a lot of strikes.
We had a lot of videos, as some of you might know, and we really did end up with, actually, I think it was more like 11 strikes or something. It was a lot. And it kind of stunk, actually. So,
okay. Anyway, so what we did to try and address those strikes during the time that we've been inactive on our channel and have been sort of like casually updating people on Twitter and stuff, is we counter notificationed for every single one. And as we were trying to do the counter notification process and research for it, we found that the current process is different than what everyone has shared online recently that we've seen. Not super recently, because just super recently, Jim Sterling actually did a really good video on their experience with a copyright strike and how the process has in fact changed even from the last time they did it.
Yes.
And there's this experience where when you file your counter notification, the people that either YouTube itself or the people that receive it get to decide whether it seems valid.
Yes.
And it just can get, no, we didn't accept, we just didn't accept it. And I think like I'm not sure whether it's exactly like YouTube that rejects it or whether it's the creator, because YouTube said basically, we don't think it's legitimate, so we're not forwarding it on to them.
Right.
But Jim described that in the Jimquisition that it was not, basically that it seems to be the creator who just goes, the owner of the copyright that goes, I don't think I'll take it or not. You know, kind of
we
thing.
actually also spent a lot of time on Twitter trying to talk to Team YouTube. So they actually have a Twitter that you can talk to, but they're not super helpful. And as Jim Sterling themselves have actually described, they said that it seems like YouTube has taken more and more of a hands-off approach. I will say personally that I also find YouTube's process to be pretty nasty in the sense of, so we mentioned earlier, like, you have to literally dox yourself, and I am not kidding. And especially if you are a minor in this situation, that's even more inappropriate in my opinion.
But it's
like,
certainly very uncomfortable, whatever it is.
Yeah,
like,
because the
it's a
most
lot.
you're going to get out of whoever, and it could literally be whoever is basically trying to strike your channel, is just an email. You don't get anything else other than an email, and maybe, like, I think you also get the company name supposedly, but other than that, that's all you get. And you then have to dox, like, your personal information to this company, and they have to decide whether or not they think your experience is valid.
And they don't have to give you anything. So even if it was a private creator of a relatively small game, like an indie game, and they decided to copyright strike your channel, which we never had something that tiny happen, but it could happen. I was going to say, then that private individual would get your full information and you wouldn't get anything from them. So that part of the process we both find to be a little bit awkward. Also, we found it very frustrating that when we asked Team YouTube for help, not really, please fix this for us, but way more like, hey, what about this? Hey, this is difficult. Also, hi, we seem to be having like translation difficulties because it was challenging for us to talk to Favori without using Japanese.
Yes.
So the communication back and forth was much, much slower when we used English.
Very delayed.
Then when we finally got some help and did it in Japanese. And then we're able to translate back and forth much quicker.
Yes.
So if you write them, in English, it's a lot slower. Now, they have really great English. It's just much slower process.
Yeah, but that is a definite thing to keep in mind. So if you ask YouTube for help, they won't help you. I'm not kidding. I've talked to them vaguely on, like I said, on Twitter. Like me particularly, I was the one who was largely talking to them. And there was a lot of basically like sort of like hand shrugging and whatever, kind of thing, and going like, say like in this case, because we ran into a big issue where it seemed like the company that we were dealing with literally didn't understand what copyright strikes were or how exactly they worked. Favori didn't even seem to understand that due to the amount of strikes that they put on our channel, it was going to just kill our channel. Because they kept basically responding to us. We'd be like, please take them off. This is going to end our entire experience on YouTube. And
they kept sort of coming back going, now that you've deleted all the videos, everything's fine. We're A-okay now. And we're like, no, on our side, we're not A-okay now. And so we had to go back and forth several times in that way.
And this is also why we ended up having to find someone who could talk to them in Japanese. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you here, guys. If you run into something where and I will say this might just be Favori, but as far as I understand from the individual that we talked to who helped us with the business Japanese required to talk to them, and very huge props to the person that we talked to. I'm not sure if we should talk about them or not, because I also don't want them to get in trouble. I'd rather it all be on us.
Right.
But the big thing is that Favori responded very aggressively when we actually basically went, hi, can we find maybe someone else? Because we tried to find a second person to help us figure out how to speak to them in Japanese, because it seemed like we couldn't even cross the barrier, even in regards to their understanding in Japanese.
So interestingly enough, the way everything finally got solved is we actually went on Reddit and asked for help finding a translator.
Yeah.
And just going, hey, would someone be willing to just translate an email for us explaining what we need to Favori? And immediately the company contacted us back and was like, you are being inappropriate. You cannot put up this information.
Yeah.
And we weren't specific at all. But like, it was again that you have done something wrong. You need to understand you've done something wrong. And so we immediately took everything down and showed them proof that we'd taken it down. And then they cleared the strikes on our channel.
Yeah.
And so it was a really weird and fascinating process the whole time, but it did take like 6 weeks to get through. And what we did was we kept extending the time limit on our channel before it got shut down by just filing another, like, you only get to do one like counter notification and then a rebuttal, like so you only get to do 2 on each video. But if any of them are outstanding, YouTube won't shut your channel down yet.
Yeah.
So basically they would take different amounts of time to review them. So we issued counter notifications for most of them, and then we issued like basically rebuttals to the refused counter notifications over time slowly.
Yeah.
And then so that was an interesting process. And then So in reference to YouTube not being very helpful, and this seems to be like a theme coming out recently of like YouTube not being very helpful in copyright strikes. And I imagine it's a manpower problem, but I really don't know. Like, there's no way to know what goes on at YouTube.
I personally think it's a legal thing. They're going, we don't want to get in trouble. We're not here for that kind of thing.
So there was an interesting experience where a copyright strike can include up to 5 videos.
Yes.
So it can have 1 video in it, or 2, 3, 4, or 5. Most of the ones we received had 5 videos in them.
Yes.
And it took them the, 11 or 12 or 15, whatever it was, to encompass the scope of the playthrough we'd been doing, which is why we got so many, because they struck every single video.
Yeah, because all they were trying to do, as far as I could tell, was just remove the content from the internet, no matter what it took.
Yes, and that's as far as I could tell as well. The difficult thing, one of the frustrating things that happened with YouTube was when we were writing the counter notifications, since the videos were largely the same, we approached all of them with critique and review and creative license of sort of changing the world and adjusting the characters, as well as adding other, thematic elements and story of our own. We used the same letter to argue each one of them after we carefully structured it. And things that need to be included in the letter are such things as, this work does not supplant or replace the market for the original one. This work is, creatively altered and different from the original. We have done, transformative things due to, our voice acting headcanons, as well as it is critique and review. And then also, if you can find a legal case similar to like what you're doing or arguing for, whether it's a video game or other thing, referencing that legal case in there and going, according to this one, which we found one similar to ours,
yes,
that has been ruled in court of law that this is fair use, and so our case is similar to that one.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is after we put that letter together, which we had a lot of help figuring out exactly what goes in there, but it is all of those main points, we submitted all these counter notifications, and for every single separate strike that we had, one of them was refused.
Every single one. And I was actually going to add on to my friend here if she did not cover it. But the thing is that, so if like, I appreciate like where some people, they will be like, oh, if you manage to get all those other videos, if you have a single video tied to part of your strike, you still have the strike.
Yes. And
it doesn't matter if you literally, they are all identical with how much material you added in. Like, that was the thing that frustrated me personally. Even one of the biggest things was going like, it's the same damn kind of video for every single one. And they rejected one on every single strike, but all the other ones went through. So it was like, this felt like a personal sort of move, or like an attack of going like, we don't want to help you, we don't think this is appropriate, we don't care. If it was YouTube, or it was something, I don't even know what it is. This is pure speculation at this point. Like, we honestly don't know.
It felt very, very strange because, again, you've got this battery of strikes. Like, I have it written down and we didn't check the number, but between 11 and 15.
Yeah.
And every one of them has multiple strikes in them, except for one, because they ran out of videos and they had one that was a single one.
Yeah, multiple videos.
Multiple videos within the strike. And then we rebut all of them. And every one of them eventually got accepted of, okay, yeah, fair, we forwarded it on to them, and if they want to fight it harder, they'll have to take legal action, except for one, which meant that every single strike stayed on our channel, even after we'd successfully, argued the case for like 40 videos.
Yeah.
It was still, there was 12 videos remaining, or 11, whatever it was, one under each strike. So it felt way too specific to have been done on accident, and it was a very strange experience. Going, yeah, sure, we'll accept your, counterclaim, except we won't accept it in any way that actually helps your channel.
Yeah, not even slightly. And actually, hilariously enough, you guys, okay, I don't have the final word on what happened. So again, pure freaking speculation, all right? But we have one strike now on our channel that remains from Favery, right? From this whole debacle.
Yes.
And you know which one it's from? It is from actually the single strike that we got that contained one video. And I have been baffled and puzzled and confusion. Like, I have queried the heavens. I just, like, for me, my own personal thing, going like, what happened? Because it really is just like, And Favre said they submitted to have all of them removed. And again, I haven't seen their final email, so I don't even know if that's true or not, which I imagine it would be that they said, hey, remove all of these.
But we don't get to see what they send YouTube, and that wasn't part of our agreement. Now, but it was really interesting.
But it was what Favre said to us, was that they would get all of them removed.
And everything was removed all at once in one big sweep, except that one strike.
Yes.
And so we feel like it's kind of like a sort of a, I don't know, if it was not done on accident, and you never know if it's human error, they just missed one. I was going to say, then it feels like sort of a warning. We're just going to leave one there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I said to Liza. I'm like, it feels like we are being slapped on the wrist kind of
Very
thing.
casually.
I have taken the ruler and I have threatened you with it. And I don't know what to make of it. It's very bizarre. So,
but that was basically what our experience was. It was tiring. It was a lot of like staying up late to be able to, you know, communicate back and forth, or to around other work, be able to write these letters and communicate with the individual who helped us. It was a lot of sort of like trying to communicate through Twitter to ask for help from YouTube, or trying to contact other creators. One of the difficulties with the situation is a lot of people talk about, hey, if you have trouble, reach out to another creator. And we're such a small channel and have started in such a void that we don't really have anyone to reach out to. Now, something really cool came of this experience, because we were able to get a hold of internet, like actual internet in our house while it was going on. And we started streaming on Twitch. And when we started streaming on Twitch, we actually connected to a community through one of the creators of one of the games we really liked.
Yeah.
And so now we have, like, we had been streaming on Twitch just like a little bit, but we've been doing it really, really actively since the strike happened, because that's been the only way we can sort of create any media.
Yep.
So moving forward, the plan is to actually continue streaming on Twitch, and also to share some of those playthroughs here on YouTube, but also to resume.
Oh, I was going to say, actually, real quick, guys, that's why we went completely dead silent for as long as we did. Due to the amount of strikes we had, our channel was dead. We couldn't update anyone. We couldn't share anything.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So the thing was, when our channel had all those strikes, we weren't allowed to do anything. So previously, when we had a couple of copyright strikes, yeah, we were allowed to upload update videos and things.
Yep. But as soon as it crosses over that three threshold, you're screwed.
Do anything.
You cannot talk to anyone. You can't really, I mean, you can answer comments. That is actually a thing you can do. But you can't upload videos. You can't, there's nothing else you can do.
You can't publish videos that are already uploaded. Nothing.
Yep, you're dead.
The whole account gets frozen. And then once it was all unfrozen, we were just kind of tired for a little while, and a little like just weary, a little battle worn, a little emotionally discouraged. And so it's taken us a little while to sort of get our momentum back. And because some life changes have happened as well during that time, we're going to be posting on the weekdays just one video a day.
All right, so yes, this is the what to expect now coming forward. So thank you very much, everybody, for staying for all the other stuff.
Yes.
We are going to link to Jim Sterling's video, though, really underneath.
We are, because their video is really comprehensive with the experience they had, and very helpful.
Yes, though I will say, okay, so this is also for everyone else. If you are frustrated, Jim also acknowledges this, and we are going to as well. It largely takes, if you're going to have a huge thing like this, it takes a lot out of you. And also the fact is, like, even Jim talking about going, like, they have the backing of lawyers. They've dealt with this kind of thing before. They have a big enough channel. We and other people, probably yourself, if you're here, don't.
Yes,
and the most that we can do is just sort of talk about our experiences.
I say smaller creators have a much harder time fighting copyright strikes, because again, the information isn't really very clear on what to do. And you really are kind of stuck on your own if you send that counter notification and they say no.
And most of us aren't swimming in money. So,
so you can't really just go, oh, you refused my counter notification, let me offer to lawyer up. Most of us don't have that option.
Yeah, it's
and
difficulty.
So do check out that video if any or all of this has been interesting, and especially if you want to learn more about the current process. It's very theatrical. It's about about a mile a minute. Like, there's a lot going on there, and it's also very, very fun. Jim has great screen presence.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay. Now, since we're done with that, thank you so much for joining us for all the rest. Now, this is about, what to expect going forward with our particular channel.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so what we're going to be doing, so previously we'd had a pretty intensive schedule, posting 4 videos a day, all the weekdays, and 2 a day on the weekends. And we're going to drop that down by a lot in favor of splitting our efforts between streaming and our YouTube channel.
Yes.
So we're going to be still posting at least one video every single day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
But it's going to be generally one video a day on the weekdays, Monday through Friday, and then 2 videos on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh yeah, okay, because we're gonna have some Twitch recaps for you all on the weekend,
and we're gonna end up. Some of that will be there will be solidly chunks of that are we're playing this game just for YouTube.
Yep.
Including the Arcana, which will resume as normal on the weekend.
Yep.
And then there will be some where we share full streams from YouTube if we think they went well, or if it encapsulates like a single playthrough kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to be making some highlight reels for some of the really cool and fun stuff that's been happening on Twitch.
Yes.
Including some like minor encapsulated stories and things like that. Some like comment highlights, some really funny moments and things. None of them will be too long. They'll be like 2 to 5 minutes because that's all of our editing software can handle.
It's all the computer can handle. It's old. It's okay.
But that's going to be what's going on. And other than that, you're still going to be able to, if you want to engage with us, we'll still be doing comments on YouTube. You can still like, subscribe and share and talk to us. And if you want to find us directly and hang out live, you can totally come and find us out on Twitch. We have our schedule both posted in our YouTube channel description and on our Twitch.
Do we actually?
I did.
Oh no, you did. Okay,
I did.
But that should change though, because so sometimes we bounce around, because we've also got other work, because we've got to figure out.
Jobs are important.
We got to figure out how to take care of ourselves, and other than that, honestly. That's actually a good segue of if you actually would like to support us, we would love to hear from you. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe.
Share.
Also, share our videos. Please also feel free to go check out our Patreon, our Ko-Fi. You can also go check us out on Twitch. We are totally there. We will be live. It will be a great, grand old time. Also, please feel free to go check out our Twitter. We have an Instagram. We have a Tumblr. You know,
if you have a platform that's one of those that you engage with and you'd like to swing in and say, hey, or tag us in something, or share any of our stuff there.
Or ask questions.
Yep, all of that is welcome. Even if it's like questions about headcanons or things are going, oh my god, this thing you said in My Mystic Dragons, like feel free to swing in non sequitur and just ask a question about Lily's Garden or something like that. That will be fine.
Yes. Also really quick for a thing that I just remembered. I apologize. For going forward, we are going to be vetting basically more of the Otome games that we're playing. So this is basically round 2 of us. This is going to sound a little bit aggressive, but I sort of mean it kind of like affectionately and also in a very tired way. Of that we have basically faced off with a Japanese company. And as much as both of us have been enjoying doing like Otome games, particularly from Japan, I am gonna have to say, like,
it's
for both of us,
dangerous.
It is really too dangerous. If we are going to do any of the Otome games, we will actually be contacting them first to see if they would be cool with it and actually find out exactly what they want us to base, or how much they want us to talk about, review, or show off. Because I don't want to do this again. Because we've already been through this with the Obey Me guys, which I can't remember their name right now. NTT Solmare, there we go. So we did this with NTT Solmare, and now we're doing this Favre and Favre Inc., and I just don't want to do it again.
On that note, if you do want to sponsor us to play a game, we do have a list of games that we're looking forward to or hoping to play on our Ko-Fi. And also, if you contact us and ask, going, hey, would you be willing to play fill in the blank title, and you're not sure if it's something that people can play safely, we can research it first, and then you're totally welcome to sponsor us to play it if we come through with a yes, we have permission.
Yes.
Now, if it is a standard big name game, there's a bunch of full playthroughs on YouTube, then feel confident about it. But if it is a little indie, side game, or no one's ever played through it before, we'll have to research it first.
Yes, because this is an experience, and it's a lot. We would like to share games with you, and that's what we want to do. We want to play games, but we also want to stay here to share stuff.
And as we get to be larger creators, as we get more visible, and once we get, into a partnership with YouTube and stuff, we'll have more ability to actually speak to them about things. And we'll also have more connections in reference to fair use and transformative works and stuff. So once we get that kind of support, then we'll be able to approach games and actually be able to legally push back and go, no, actually, this is transformative and we get to keep it. But other than that, as long as things are the way they are, we have to be more careful.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we really, really, really want to thank our 2 patrons.
We have 2, and they are fabulous.
And they are super cool, and we are really grateful for them. Rihanna G.
Yep.
And Delta Whisker.
Yeah, Delta Whisker for sure.
Uh-huh.
They're both good. Delta Whisker actually came to us from Twitch.
From
So, like I
Twitch.
said, doing Twitch is actually totally viable. Please feel free to follow us over there.
Mhm.
It's been a lot of fun. But whatever you choose to do, we hope you have a fantastic time.
And in the meantime,
I have been Scandal.
and I have been Lies.
And it was great playing with you. Bye!